organizations should be doing. The fire chief, Kristen Crowley, defended her agency's decision, saying commanders had to be strategic with limited resources while continuing to handle regular 911 calls. She said the number of calls doubled Tuesday from a typical day to 3,000 at the Los Angeles' 106 fire stations as high winds downed trees and power lines. The plan they put together, I stand behind because we have to manage everybody in the city, Crowley told them. Several former fire chiefs with deep experience in Los Angeles, the tactics, said that most of the more than 40 available engines could have been pre-deployed to fire zones before the Palisades blaze started, while others were kept at stations to help with increases in 911 calls. The engines were eventually used to fight the Palisades fire and other blazes or to fill in other engines deployed to the front line. Current LA Fire Department officials said. The plan you're using now for the fire you should have used before the fire, said former Battalion Chief Rick Crawford. It's a known staffing tactic, a deployment model. So the one thing that's happening in Los Angeles right now is that you've got all these different factions. I mean, it is getting nasty out there. And you've got everyone from the mayor to the chief to former chiefs to people who are in the administration, all pointing fingers at each other. Governor, everyone who has an interest in this is trying everything they can to point the finger at someone else, and it is getting nasty out there. I am doing the Scott Sloan Show on Tuesday next week, and I'm going to be talking to a guy that used to work here in Cincinnati. He's in the news business, and he is out in Los Angeles right now and has been working out there for the last several years. And so he's going to give me an update. I mean, there's probably going to be a lot more come to the surface between now and Tuesday. So I am certainly looking forward to that interview and get more on exactly what happened and what people are saying and what people are doing out there. But when you've got former chiefs saying that this was not unusual to pre-position all this fire apparatus and all these firefighters ahead of time, I think you got to take that into consideration. And, it's one thing to complain about budget cuts, but it's another thing to be completely unprepared. It is 8:16. We got to get to a little break here, and then we'll check traffic and weather and all the rest of it as we roll on till 9 o'clock this morning on 700 WLW. Oh, we actually check in with Chuck first.
You sure can.
So, Chuck Ingram, take it away if you would, please.
From the UC Health Traffic Center, don't let injuries slow you down. The UC Health Orthopedics and Sports Medicine experts can help keep you moving. Schedule a same-day appointment at uchealth.com. There's a broken down in the right lane, southbound 71 at the Reagan Highway, but even with that, I'm not seeing a huge delay through Blue Ash. Southbound 75 continues to run an extra 5 in and out of Laughlin. That's what northbound 75 is going to cost you now between Buttermilk and downtown. An extra 5 minutes. Everything else is looking better. Chuck Ingram, News Radio 700 WLW.
And the 9-1 warning weather forecast. Some areas of fog out there should be starting to go away. It's going to be mostly sunny in the day ahead. A little bit warmer. Today's high 39. Some rain and a possible winter mix moves in tonight. The overnight low 33. That rain should move out around noontime tomorrow. Otherwise, a mostly cloudy day and a little bit warmer, a high of 42. Saturday night into Sunday, it cools off to about 21. Sunday's high only 25, and the overnight low Sunday into Monday is when we're looking at single digits. So that's when the cold is really going to slap you across the face. It is 26 at 700 WLW.
Is there a special time you like to listen to Scott Sloan?
I love to listen to Sloaney in the morning at home, in the car going to work, when I'm at work, his podcast after work, and when I'm at the dentist.
Wow, do you go to the dentist a lot?
Yeah, I got some lousy teeth.
I've got a bad back, so I listen to Sloaney when I get a massage.
I'm going to do that next time I get one. I hate that creepy massage music.
Sloaney is like 10 times better than massage music.
Scott Sloan, this morning at 9 on 700 WLW. And check out his podcast on the free iHeartRadio app.
This report is sponsored by Staples Stores. Your local Staples has hot deals and super low prices throughout the store on everything for your business. And right now at Staples, save up to $175 off your print order. Exclusions apply. Visit staples.com/print for details. Ends 2/1. Plus, save even more with the Easy Rewards program at Staples.
When your home has an just call Apollo. ApolloHome.com.
In today's Marketers Report, Erica Taylor, Chief Marketing Officer of Genentech, weighs in on audio's ability to reach any audience.
Everyone is listening somewhere, somehow. So it's a great way to take something very precise in what we're trying to do to reach patients with something that I think we can all agree is somewhat broad in reaching many, many different audiences.
As the #1 audio company, iHeartMedia gives marketers access to the audiences, influencers, insights, and data you need to grow. If you're a marketer, go to iHeartResults.com.
Now's the time to buy your new vehicle at CarryAutomotive.com. Whether you're in the market for a Toyota, Ford, Buick, GMC, Chevy, Nissan, Mazda, VW, or Hyundai, the place to shop is Carry Automotive. Just 20 minutes from anywhere. CarryAutomotive.com. We are right by you.
Hey, it's Mo Egger. You know, winter weather can do a number on a home's exterior, whether it's snow, ice, wind, or just extreme cold. If winter weather wreaks havoc on your home's exterior, my friends at Madewell Restoration can help. Go to MadewellRestoration.com.
Tri-State Ford buyers, shake the cold weather with a hot new deal on a brand new Ford from #1 Mike Kestercy Ford in Milford or Alexandria. Take as much as $14,000 off the sticker price of a brand new 2024 Ford F-150 or 2024 Ford Expedition. 2 convenient locations, Mike Kestercy Ford Lincoln of Alexandria or Mike Kestercy Ford located in Milford. Tri-State Ford buyers, shake the cold weather with a hot new deal on a brand new Ford from Mike Kestercy Ford in Milford or Alexandria. Take as much as $6,000 off a 2024 Ford Bronco Sport or up to $7,000 off the sticker price a 2024 Ford Escape. 2 convenient locations. That's Mike Kestercy Ford Lincoln of Alexandria or Mike Kestercy Ford located in Milford.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting truly great candidates for your roles? It seems impossible to find them, but they have to be out there somewhere, right? Well, they're not hard to find when you know where to go, and that place is ZipRecruiter. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day. And because these people are actively looking for jobs just like yours, it's easy to find the right person right away. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. But if you're not using ZipRecruiter, you're missing out. So see what it's like when the impossible is easy. When you go to ZipRecruiter.com/radio right now to try ZipRecruiter for free. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio. Never miss out on great candidates with ZipRecruiter.
Monster BTK, the latest installment of the critically acclaimed Monster franchise, exposes the chilling story of one of America's most infamous cases that shook Wichita, Kansas to its core.
When people said BTK, you think of a wild-eyed Manson-like character. What we didn't understand is he was the guy next door.
Listen to Monster BTK on America's #1 podcast network, iHeart. Open your free iHeart app and search Monster BTK to start listening.
Buy and service your Sprinter at Mercedes-Benz of Fort Mitchell.
Back on the big one, 700 WLW. Dan Carroll in for Mike McConnell. Phone lines are open, 513-749-7000. 1-800, the big one. And I was looking at, and from time to time, I turn on CNN, MSNBC, and I do watch a lot of Fox News. But I turn on those other outlets to see exactly what they're talking about. And on his Thursday show, Jim Acosta was talking about the farewell address that Joe Biden gave the other night. And one of the things that Jim Acosta and the left-wing media seized on almost immediately was Joe Biden talking about this warning about the high-tech industrial complex. And Joe Biden warning about misinformation and disinformation. and all that stuff that got out there. And I found it rich that Joe Biden, who was responsible for delivering some of the worst disinformation in the history of disinformation, is the guy who's out there bemoaning that there's all this going on, and he's the one who's responsible largely. Well, not the only one responsible for it, but he is largely responsible for his fair share of it, and probably more than his fair share of it. I mean, here's a guy whose administration trampled on the First Amendment more than anything else that we have ever seen. And in that, I mean that the way that his administration sought to strong arm social media companies and tell them what stories should be suppressed and which ones should not. And we've seen the records on this. We've heard what Zuckerberg had to say about it. We know what Elon Musk did at Twitter and all the Twitter files that came out and everything else. But here's a little clip of Jim Acosta summing up his view on this on his show on Thursday. Danny Boy, let's hear that.
I want to take a moment to talk about something President Biden said during his farewell address. He warned the free press is crumbling in this country. I would add that's only if we, the people, let that happen. Journalists exist to seek the truth, to tell people's stories, to lift up voices that may not be heard otherwise, to shine a light on injustice, and to hold the powerful accountable. We are not the enemy of the people. We are the defenders of the people. Walter Cronkite once said, freedom of the press is not just important to democracy, it is democracy. I want to take a moment to show you something. A woman sent me this sign 8 years ago. She carried it here at a march in Washington. She wrote on the back of the sign, to me and the press here in D.C., you have our support. To Nora, wherever you are, right back at you.
So there's Jim Acosta talking about the free press. And the things he says about the free press are true. But he is also guilty of the reason that people have such a low opinion of people like him, people who are in television news. I mean, and it's not just that they have been caught red-handed time and time and time again. And the whole Russian collusion story is the easiest one. But I keep and it's the most recent example, and that's why I keep going back to it, is what the Biden administration said time and time and time again about how social media must do more to censor information that was on their platforms. And for Jim Acosta, CNN, MSNBC, and all the rest of them to sit there and cheer that on. These should be people who are staunch defenders of the First Amendment. And they enjoy their First Amendment rights and exercising their First Amendment rights. And they should. And that is part of the reason that people like him exist, is because it's specifically called for in the First Amendment, freedom of the press. But they sit there and cheer on people who want to suppress information and trample First Amendment rights and keep people from speaking out. Now, all that stuff he says about lifting up voices and all the rest of that, well, that's all fine and dandy. But they don't live that on a regular basis. When you're a cheerleader for the left and you're a cheerleader for all these progressive issues, people eventually catch on to that, and they have caught on to that. And now you look at the ratings for CNN and MSNBC, and they are the lowest that they have ever had. And they're getting beat by the Shopping Channel and the Home Network and all the rest of it. Bill in Harrison is on the line, and Bill, 700 WLW, how's it going?
Oh, good morning. What was it? All of the mis and disinformation about the Wuhan, that masks were, all the threats to take the jab. If you spoke out on Facebook that you disagreed with this or that, the posts were deleted. and you got threatening notices from the Facebook people. The Hunter Biden laptop.
No, you're right. I mean, all that was a shame, an extremely shameful chapter, and the Biden administration had a huge hand in all of that talk being shut down. And now we know, in hindsight, that a lot of those things that were being put out there were actually true. And the only reason they wanted it shut down is because it disagreed with the government-approved narrative that they were trying to. That was the only thing they wanted people to be able to see, hear, and read.
Well, also it goes to, reducing the credibility of both and trust of both our government and the media in general. And if you have a country that we can't trust our government, then you have some really serious problems. Because these are the people that are supposed to be up there in D.C. on both ends of Pennsylvania Avenue and everywhere in between. They're supposed to be looking out for us on issues of keeping terrorist countries like Iran in check, et cetera, and so on, thwarting the connivances of godless Red China land.
Well, Bill, I'll tell you what, we're up against the clock. We got news coming up, and we got to run, but I want to thank you very much for the call. But, you make excellent points, and I appreciate the phone call. But we do got to get to the news. It is 8:30 at the home of the Reds, 700 WLW.
News, traffic, and weather. News Radio 700 WLW, Cincinnati.
The future of TikTok still in limbo with the 8:30 report. I'm Rick Ucino. Breaking now, will social media app TikTok remain available in app stores through the weekend? As millions of users await a possible decision by the U.S. Supreme Court later today, the company is lobbying intensely to save itself. Federal law does require TikTok to be sold by its China-based owner by Sunday. Its CEO has been invited to the Capitol to attend President-elect Donald Trump's inauguration on Monday.
The divestiture law passed with bipartisan majorities in Congress last year, but there are now bipartisan calls to give TikTok more time to find a non-Chinese buyer. The Biden administration tells ABC News it has no intention of going into court on Sunday or Monday to enforce a ban, and there's much speculation that President-elect Trump might direct his Justice Department to at least delay enforcement so he can try to work out some sort of a solution. But the law says a one-time 90-day extension can only be granted if there's a sale already in the works.
That is ABC's Stephen Portnoy. Let's check the latest traffic and weather together.
From the UC Health Traffic Center, don't let injuries slow you down. The UC Health Orthopedics and Sports Medicine experts can help keep you moving. Schedule a same-day appointment at uchealth.com. Southbound 75 continues slow through Laughlin and now slow into downtown. There is at least a 6-car accident that blocks the left center lane at Ezra Charles. Traffic is slowing, still being able to use the left lane and 2 on the right. Northbound 75, that's an extra 5 between Buttermilk and downtown. Chuck Ingram, News Radio 700 WLW.
Now the latest forecast from the Train Heating and Cooling Weather Center on News Radio 700 WLW.
We're kicking off this morning with temperatures in the mid-20 range, maybe even a few flurries. The good news is after some patchy fog slowly starts to move out, we see temperatures climb close to 40 degrees with some sunshine. Could be the first day all year that we end up above average. From your severe weather station, I'm 9 First Warning meteorologist Cameron Harden on News Radio 700 WLW.
28 degrees right now. News, a service of Coordinated Financial Plan and Wealth Management. Police continue to search for those who are responsible for the deaths of 2 people in Coleraine Township Thursday afternoon. Officers called out to the parking lots of a Popeyes and a Walgreens near Coleraine Avenue and Springdale Road. This after gunfire rang out around 1 o'clock. 3 people total were shot. 2 died from their injuries. The 3rd victim was last listed in critical condition. No names have been released. A woman charged in the fatal stabbing of her mother in Middletown has now been found incompetent to stand trial. It was the day before Halloween last year when police found 72-year-old Minnie Lewis suffering from numerous stab wounds at a home on 14th Avenue. She later died at the hospital. 44-year-old Makisha Lattimore has been charged with murder and has now been ordered to undergo mental health treatment. An effort to promote local restaurants across northern Kentucky will kick off next week.
We want to support our restaurants.
restaurants. We want to support the people there.
Covington Mayor Ron Washington, as his city and others like Newport and Florence are taking part in Dine NKY, which kicks off next Tuesday. It's a promotion led by organizations like the Northern Kentucky Chamber and the Covington Business Council.
We do have a couple restaurants that have closed in the city, but we also have the restaurants that have opened in the city that has been not getting as much coverage.
Every Tuesday through Valentine's Day, Dine NKY encourages dining and drinking at a locally owned restaurant or bar, a typically slower day during the slower winter months. I'm Matt Reese, News Radio 700 WLW.
Our next update at 9 o'clock, I'm Rick Uccino, News Radio 700 WLW.
This report is sponsored by ExpressPros.com. Let Express Employment Professionals help you hire for contract or full-time jobs. Forget about recruiting, sifting through resumes, and interviews with unqualified applicants. Go to ExpressPros.com to find the location near you. That's ExpressPros.com.
This report is sponsored by Blindster.com.
Hi, I'm Kyle at Blindster.com. Blindster is a family-run business that began in 2010, and we've sold millions of custom blinds, shades, and shutters and received over 100,000 five-star reviews. Don't hire an expensive pro. Do it yourself and save big at Blindster.com.
Texting enrolls you into recurring automated text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
Hey, Dan, how you doing? Haven't seen you around the gym.
Yeah, I've really fallen off. Since I turned 40, I just don't get the results I used to get.
Could be lower testosterone. I went through it a while back. I got Nugenix Total T, and it's made a huge difference for me.
I've seen that ad on TV. Is it for real?
Oh, yeah. The key ingredient is something called Tesnor, which helps boost free and total testosterone levels to help you trim up and stay lean.
And it's made a difference for you?
Man, I feel like I'm in my 20s again. At work, in the gym, and in the bedroom.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles for people to try it for themselves?
Yeah, you just need to send them a text. Text CUTS to 42424 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T. Plus, text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo, our most powerful fat incinerator ever, to help you get back into shape fast, absolutely free. Text CUT to 42424. That's CUT to 42424.
Products and statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease or illness.
Hey, it's McConnell here. Like other business owners, this time of year, you're likely thinking about your company's retirement plan. You need to give the retirement pros a call at PCA. They've been serving Greater Cincinnati's retirement needs for over 40 years. PCA's team of local and experienced advisors make it personal. Give PCA a call today at 513-PCA-401K. That's 513-PCA-401K. PCA is an SEC registered investment advisor. Registration does not imply a certain level of skill or training.
Men, it's the new year, and for many of us, it's a time of deciding to make positive changes in our lives. This is Jeff for Tri-State Men's Health, and if you're suffering with erectile dysfunction and are tired of the frustration and embarrassment ED causes, you should call Tri-State Men's Health today. Because there probably isn't a better resolution you can make than to be done with ED. You see, ED doesn't just affect you, it can also affect your partner, even if they don't talk about it. But here's some great news. If you're like most guys, the treatments at Tri-State Men's Health will give you back your sex life. Because our protocols have success rates that work in well over 90% of cases. Seriously, you might even find you're performing like you haven't in years. So, make an appointment and get ED out of your life. Your initial visit is only $99 and includes blood work, a medical consult, and if medically advised, a test dose. And if that test dose doesn't work in the office, your visit is free. Call 800-900-9654. That's 800-900-9654 or go to TriStateMen'sHealth.com. Tri-State Men's Health, a Promenic restorative health practice.
Hey, Green Gobbler here. So you've got a clogged drain in your bathroom. Water in the sink's overstaying its welcome. You're spitting today's toothpaste on top of yesterday's toothpaste. You hope that it go away. Yeah, clogs don't just go away. I make them go away. I'm Green Gobbler, the only clog dissolver you need. I'm bleach-free, safe for your pipes, and I work. Guaranteed or your money back. Because I never met a clog that was gonna unclog itself. Green Gobbler. Let the gobbler get it.
Money, money, money. Puppies don't care about money news. It's a good thing they're so darn cuddly. This is the Bloomberg Money Minute on 700 WLW.
Well, now executives at United Health, that's the nation's largest health insurer, have now addressed the public for the first time since their company executive Brian Thompson was gunned down outside a Manhattan hotel in December, apparently by an activist critical of the company's practices. Yesterday, during the company's quarterly earnings call with analysts and investors, United Health CEO Andrew Whitty acknowledged frustration with the healthcare system system overall, but he said less than half of 1% of claims are rejected for clinical reasons, but hit some snags when they're sent to the wrong place or lack the correct documentation. The Supreme Court has already signaled it's likely to rule on a ban on TikTok today. The expectation is justices will uphold the law passed by Congress that would ban the app. But TikTok's likely to get a reprieve from the ban after a holiday weekend coming up and a pledge from the incoming Trump administration to give its Chinese owner, ByteDance, more time to divest itself from TikTok. There's efforts underway to extend the deadline, including a potential deal with Elon Musk. From Bloomberg, I'm Scott Carr on News Radio 700 WLW.
Back on the big one, 700 WLW 839. And we'll talk to Chuck in a little. Dan Carroll in for Mike McConnell. 513-749-7000, 1-800 the big one. Dave has dialed one of those numbers. And Dave in Dayton, how are you this morning?
Hey, Dan, doing great. Glad to hear you in for McConnell. Doing a great job.
Glad to be here.
Hey, got a quick Waymo story, and then on to my next piece.
So is it, let me ask you this. I've never taken a Waymo before. Are they all driverless?
Yes.
So
and
you're fine riding around in a driverless vehicle?
Well, not anymore. So here's my story. So I'm out in San Francisco with my 90-year-old dear aunt who lives there in the city, and I said, Aunt Shirley, let's ride the future here. There's a Waymo. Let's order up a Waymo.
Ride the future.
and you know, she's old school, like taxi cabs only. And so we get into the Waymo, and you know, with the address to her Sequoia retirement, which is like a city block. It's huge. It's a massive place, San Francisco, big retirement tower. So the Waymo and the rain, it's a cold, windy, rainy San Francisco day. The Waymo stops at the bottom of this steep hill, which is the address for the Sequoias. And I'm like, well, wait a second. There's no way to get my 90-year-old aunt in a walker up this hill, and you know, and it's rain and cold, but the Waymo, like, and the doors pop open and everything, and like, so we had to get out, and I had to hail a taxi cab to get us up to the hill.
Oh, for crying out loud!
Tell a Waymo, like, hey, guy, you got to take us up to the entry place? It's up the hill and around the corner. It just took you to an address point, you know.
So it gets to that waypoint, and it stops no matter what.
Stops no matter what,
and the doors pop open. And it's time to get out.
And it popped open on a cold, windy, rainy day with about 45-degree angle hill.
For crying out loud!
90-year-old aunt. So there's a little hiccup right there. My one and only and last Waymo ride. It was my first and last.
Well, I mean, so, that video came out. Did you see that video of the guy who was going around in circles in the parking lot?
Yeah.
I mean, you know, that thing's gone viral, and I mean, thank God. I mean, that didn't seem like all that serious of a situation, but I mean, they got to get these things.
Things that can go on there, but
I'll take my chances with a driver.
Consequential reason for my call. I just want to say I am so pumped up and excited for Monday. It's going to be the most consequential, memorable Martin Luther King Day in my life, because DJT takes over and the 4-year national nightmare is over. And my two favorite teams, the Buckeyes and the Irish, go head to head, and I can't lose because I've been a fan of both growing up. So I was going to go to the game, but since I love both teams, I'm not even going to, I can't cheer against one or the other. And so I win either way. So Monday's going to be just an incredible day. And we get some normalcy back, and then the media gets corrected by our new leader, and all this BS we've been dealing with terrible leadership, terrible media over the past 4 years, hiding crap from us and just lying to our faces and having just weaponizing the FBI to be like a Nazi Gestapo raiding the people's homes that were on January 6th. All that crap comes to an end on Monday.
Dave, I mean, you make a good point there, and all the surveys that have come out are showing a major distrust from the American people in the media especially when it comes to television news reporters. The trust that people have in newspaper news reporters is really nothing to write home about, if you ask me. And I don't know if you heard that soundbite I played from Jim Acosta a little while ago.
Yeah.
But, he's talking about, how faith in the media is crumbling. And he's saying, people like you and me are the ones who need to restore that faith. And it's not you and me. It's him. It's people. It's the people who are living this every single day and choosing. Look, every once in a while, and I talk about this all the time on my nighttime shows. Every once in a while, CNN or MSNBC or NBC, whether the networks, they'll do some actual real journalism. And it's not that, and that's what's so infuriating about this. It's not that they don't have the ability to report honestly or do some genuine reporting or genuine investigative reporting. It's that they choose not to do it. And they choose not to do it time and time again. And it's all for what? For advancing the agenda and taking the easy way out. And it's fine. I mean, do you know that this election coverage, this past election, was the most lopsided in the history of election coverage, as long as at least television news has been around? I mean,
it's blatantly obvious.
The numbers are out there.
It's blatantly obvious. And I used to be a purveyor of the late night shows and SNL and all that stuff. I stopped watching all that garbage because all it was Trump bashing, right wing bashing, and it's like now that I just so excited they have to genuflect to the knee of Donald J. Trump.